I have some lifelong friends who introduced me to the ministry in I want to say the early 90s, when the ministry was based in Manhattan, in the lower Manhattan area. I visited a few times then, and that was my first time. My first encounter with the Master Prophet was many years later, in 2008. Having had prior introduction to the ministry, I knew of the ministry, but I was a little, skeptic. I was. He used to do those commercials where they would zoom in on his face and zoom out in the 90s, and that used to creep me out, so I stopped watching his commercials. And this particular time, on a more serious note, I had just left a ministry in North Carolina, just broken hearted over the things that I'd seen, and just kind of getting a firsthand look at ministry. As most of my life I was raised in my grandfather's church, so my adult life was really just a few years of watching a ministry from a different angle. And I was just brokenhearted, and I stopped attending church, period. And I went on a word around that same time to leave my profession. I am an x-ray technician by profession, and I've done that for 23 years. And I believed God to go into the real estate industry, shortly after which the market crashed. So I was devastated as I flip-flopped and tried to find my way back to stability financially. But there was a word. So at that time, I was out of work and looking for a job, and it actually, I'm not going off the point, but I'd actually fixed my hair, I'd relaxed it to try to prepare for the interview. And a few weeks later was still interviewing and thought I should change my look. So I went for some color. And long story short, totally, my hair fell out. And so I had no job, I had no hair, because I shaved it off to try to get it all just to grow back. And I was laying on the couch and I was down. I was really depressed. And the TV was on. And I saw Prophet Jordan come on, and I was again skeptical, but the Spirit spoke to me and definitely told me, give it a try, call. Because everyone starts out somewhere, and there's always place for growth for anywhere. So you don't have to believe what you believed back then about what you saw. And I called, and there was a conference call of some kind going on, and I listened in. And though I wasn't working out of faith, I sowed a seed. And the company of prophets ministered to me as though I felt inside as though I'd given $1,000. And there were so many of them that came on, and they all spoke and confirmed words that I had heard before, but I needed that confirmation again at a time where things seemed so dark. And at that time, Master Prophet Jordan spoke on the call as well. And generally, everyone was saying, God is taking you to a place of financial freedom. And specifically, I think at one point he said, you're not going to have a problem sewing $300, $400. It's not going to be an issue for you. And I couldn't see those things physically manifesting, but the word sustained me powerfully that came out of this ministry. All the way down, now I'm in North Carolina at this time. I'd moved away. And that word alone from the company of prophets held me up, as not only did Master Prophet Jordan prophesy that money wouldn't be an issue for me, but Prophetess Kelly spoke on the call. And of course, she'd never seen me, and I was hundreds of miles away. And in that call, she said she sees finances coming forth in the mail. And I almost dropped the phone when she said, and I see your hair growing back. Because at that time, as I said, I was bald and I had no hair. So God knows what you need. I mean, because inside, as a woman, we definitely, I didn't want to be that girl with marginal alopecia, and I was afraid my hair would never grow back. So God is awesome to care about every big thing and every little thing that you're going through. And that was my first encounter with Master Prophet Jordan and the company of prophets. As the word came forth, nothing was said about me joining the church, and sometimes it takes me a while to put things together. So I was seeing the Lord opening the door for me to come back to New York, but my mind was so focused on how was I going to rebuild my life here. I didn't think, it's like, wait a minute. The Lord brought me back here, not just for work, but he brought me back for ministry. As I have through the years been in the ministry in capacity as a worship leader and from my childhood. And I knew the Lord has really connected me here to serve. And I'm looking forward to seeing what God does here, because it's so beautiful what God has done through this ministry for me. And for me, it would be an honor to give back with the gifts that God has given me. And that is the power of prophecy.